time I realized that other cultures kind of get this. I need you to hear me. Other cultures tend to get this. And when I say other cultures, I'm talking about white culture, Indian culture. I'm talking about other cultures other than African Americans. And a lot of the time what happens is you're mistaking the playboy for a husband, and you're trying to marry a playboy instead of marrying a husband. And that's, a lot of women don't realize this. A lot of women don't realize this. And this is why you continue to have such horrible dating experiences, because you could be sitting there ignoring the husband material, ignoring the man that is already put you in his forever category. A man will sleep with you, hang out with you, Netflix and chill with you, and you are not his type at all, but he enjoys the sex, he enjoys your company, he enjoys the fun. And now as a woman, you've put this type of man into the husband material. They looked at the playboy and said, he just wasn't the one, he wasn't faithful, he wasn't ready to settle down. But Rebecca, as a matchmaker, I want you to find me the man who looks like Mr. Playboy, who wants to be loyal and faithful to me and committed to me, and find me my husband, but I want him to look like Mr. Playboy and act like Mr. Playboy. And that's when I stopped matchmaking.
Over the years, there have been a lot of Black women who help Black women who have decided to actually stop helping Black women. So I'll give you some examples. Iyanla Vanzant, who had a show called Fix My Life. Many of you have watched this show. She started getting death threats from people. Some of them, I believe, were Black women. You know, some people, particularly Black women, didn't like her coaching style. So she stopped serving in that capacity as far as her show on the OWN network. April Mason, who was recently on the Dear Future Wifey podcast, she is a femininity coach. And she had an academy where she was helping Black women, I believe individually, coaching them, and she stopped. She didn't want to do it anymore. Rebecca Lynn Pope, who you just saw a clip of, she is a content creator on YouTube. She's also a coach. She teaches courses, more so around, I would say she does more so life coaching. She doesn't outright say it's because of Black women, but she implies this by talking about women and their unrealistic expectations, and then also talking about other women in other cultures not having the same expectations that Black women have, right? So these are 3 examples of coaches who have stopped helping Black women. Relationship coaches are giving up on helping Black women because of our unrealistic expectations. And again, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have standards, but we need to be asking ourselves, can we bring, to the table what we're asking for and more?
And you're blinded to all the red flags, right? That he's really not consistent. He's already showing you he's not into you, right? But then here's the key, guys. This is when I stopped matchmaking. I've told you guys this before. I stopped matchmaking because I had a different standard for men than I realized that a lot of women had. A lot of single women have these standards that are crazy. And I met my husband, and when I was matchmaking, I realized that the women, my female clients, would have not even given my husband a chance. They wouldn't have dated him. Because my husband is a good man, a solid man, right? A strong man. I mean, my husband, but literally, it was like, I realized that's not what a lot of these women are looking for. And I've done videos about this, about how women and their expectations of men have gotten so ridiculous. And
I think Rebecca Lynn Pope is spot on. When she talks about other races or other cultures, and and how they're socialized. It is very rare for a woman of another race or culture to make comments and say that, you know, I can do bad by myself, or, you know, I have my degree, I'm good. You know, in my experience, women, again, of other races and other cultures seem to understand the value that men have in their lives and just in the world. And this is kind of ingrained in them from the time they're born, right? Whereas Black women, I think oftentimes many of us are socialized. We're socialized to think that somehow education can serve as a placeholder or can serve as a substitute for a man, for a partner, etc. And this can be a very tricky space to navigate with Black women. You know, many of us are very accomplished in our careers, and we're trying to navigate dating. We hope to, you know, one day become married. And many of our jobs, in my opinion, incite and encourage us to become more masculine. And I'm going to be doing a video about how, as Black women, we can protect our femininity. That's another video. This video, I want to mainly just focus on and highlight and really reinforce what Rebecca Lynn Pope stated. It's absolutely true. You know, we get the categories completely confused when it comes to the men that we are interested in. And my mom actually told me this, so shout out to my mom if you're listening. I remember there was a point where my mom made a comment and she said, you know, you need to stop focusing on who you like and focus on who likes you. And that's as it relates to dating.
And women have a tendency to go from one of these relationships to the next, to the next, to the next, because all you're going off of is who you like and who you're interested in. I'll tell you this, ladies, it almost doesn't matter who you like. It doesn't matter if you like them. Who likes you? Who's into you? Who is seeing you as you're there forever? Because like I say, as women, we get to choose who to date, but men choose who they marry. The man's putting a ring on it, not the woman. It does not matter who you like.
And I think this is something that a lot of Black women are not told. You know, it was a big light bulb moment for me when my mom shared that with me, and she was absolutely right. But I think many Black women don't learn this until later in life. You know, many of us who do actually get married, some of us tend to get married later in life, myself included. I'm not even married yet. So, and I think that there is a need for the femininity coaching. And I know that some people are getting tired of it because every time you go on YouTube or any social media, you're seeing, you know, videos and various things pop up about femininity. But understand that this is an area that Black women really struggle with. There is a process by which, as a Black woman, to have a successful relationship and especially to have a successful marriage, oftentimes there are things that you need to unlearn. And, you know, there are ways that you need to navigate your relationships differently. And yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. I wanted to show that clip. The clip went viral when Rebecca Lynn Pope posted that. The video that you saw was 3 years ago. It went viral. And understandable, because she really nailed it. You know, she really nailed it. When it comes to who you date or who you marry or who you even just invest and spend time with, it's really about looking at the character of the person, their integrity. There's so many things. I think many Black women look at looks, look at height. Those are not the most important specs, so to speak. And, you know, also in response to this thing about choosing a man, you know, yeah, I like what she said. You know, women choose when it comes to dating, men choose when it comes to marriage. And we all know, well, for many of us, marriage is the goal. Now, I've heard women say, particularly black women, say that marriage is not the goal. So my question is, if marriage is not the goal, what is? If you're dating and marriage is not the goal, then, you know, I'm curious what is. But yeah, so ultimately, I've said this before on my, and got some feedback from a viewer when I talked about men choosing. That's what I'm talking about. If I'm talking about a man choosing, I'm talking about marriage. Unless you want to be like Chrissy from Love and Hip Hop and propose to your boyfriend. We see how that worked out for her. Okay, so unless you want to be like Chrissy and propose, in most cases, the man is choosing whether or not he wants to marry you. Now, yes, you can choose in terms of if you want to date him, of course. But I think that it's really about who likes you. It's really about who's into you. Because if you like a guy and you're interested in him, but he's not interested in you, then there's going to be a major imbalance. And this is why love is such a rare find. Love is a rare find because of the very fact that both people need to be invested in each other. And I'm not talking about money, but I'm talking about honesty, vulnerability, character, integrity, all of those intrinsic values. Can we bring all of that to the table and more? And most of us, when we talk about what we bring to the table, it has to do with, you know, sort of external things or superficial things. Like, oh, well, I bring my degree to the table. I bring, you know, my career, my money, you know, my car, my house, those type of things. But really, when you're considering what you bring to the table, how much honesty do you bring to the table? How much vulnerability do you bring to the table? Those are the questions. So comment below.